Morning Trainiacs, very exciting day here. In my hot little hands, I have the ROKA Maverick MX wetsuit. And the idea behind this is their brand new wetsuit that for those beginner athletes that want more buoyancy than the outright entry-level wetsuit, and they want some of the flexibility in the shoulders, but still be at that more entry-level price point, not the super $800, $900, $1,100 price point. This ROKA Maverick MX is what they've designed this for. So it has 20% more buoyancy than the entry-level wetsuit and the same arms up technology as the super expensive wetsuit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an hour and 15-minute swim here in the swim spa. We're gonna do a chunk of it in the ROKA Maverick MX. We are going to do a chunk of it in the entry-level ROKA Comp. And then we are going to do don't tell ROKA I did this. Do a swim with the unreleased 2020 version of the ROKA Maverick X to compare mid-range to entry-level to top of the line. All right, Trainiacs, let's get into the ROKA Maverick MX, ROKA's new wetsuit. Now, full disclosure, ROKA is a sponsor of this channel and of TeamTrainiac.com, where the athletes who train with us on TeamTrainiac.com can get some pretty sweet discounts that ROKA provides them. But they do not tell me what to say in these videos besides we just want your honest, subjective opinion on your first impressions of the ROKA Maverick MX. Thank you. But because they know the specs of the wetsuit, why not just let them have 60 seconds to explain like the sales pitch of why this MX was designed the way it was.
Hey Taren, what's up, man? First off, just sending positive vibes, hoping that you and everybody out there are able to stay healthy and stay smart. And adapt to all the crazy challenges that are going on right now. Can't wait to get back out on a race course or in some open water with you guys soon. And then on the Maverick MX, you know, we always think that it's really important that anything that we uncover, anything that we design for the top end of our line, that we try to bring that down and design that into the entry-level suit. We really want the first-time athlete or the athletes that are just starting out in the sport to have a really, really awesome experience. And so as we were going through the process on the X2, we said, how can we bring some of these design breakthroughs, some of these changes that we're making at the top of the line on the X2 and apply those to the entry-level suit, to the Comp. And that ended up becoming the Maverick MX, or the Max Buoyancy suit. And so, you know, we have the arms up design that we started and pioneered in the original Maverick X that we've now brought down across the entire Maverick lineup of wetsuits. And so the Maverick MX leverages that arms up design, but increases the buoyancy, you know, across the board from wrist to ankle on that suit. I hope that you're able to jump in the pool in the pain cave there and check these things out, and looking forward to hearing what you think. Thanks so much, man. We'll talk soon. Peace.
All right, so my personal take on the MX is that it's much more similar to the $350 entry-level Maverick Comp than it is the $950 Maverick X or the $750 Maverick Pro. I have a special place in my heart for that ROKA Maverick Pro. That was the very first wetsuit that I ever reviewed on this channel. It was the OG wetsuit that put ROKA on the map. And this suit has a lot of the same benefits that Maverick Pro did that basically revolutionized triathlon wetsuits. We're gonna get into those features. So the price point of this is $495. That makes it a little bit higher than a lot of the absolute entry-level wetsuits that are just one strict thickness of neoprene without any features. This has a lot more features. It has more of those features that you would expect from a higher end wetsuit, but with a slightly higher price point. So because it has that higher price point than the Comp or other total entry level wetsuits, you do have to start thinking, like, does it work? Does it do what it's supposed to do? And is that going to be money well spent? Well, yeah, like in my experience in there, it certainly has more buoyancy than the Comp. Popped me up on the water and I was instantly floated up to the top a lot easier than with the Comp. And it has just a little bit more stability in the core from wiggling side to side than the Comp does. Now, those are both really important things. If you can be up in the water, you're gonna have a lot less drag. If you're not as wiggly in the water, you're gonna be more stable, you're gonna go faster because you have less side to side drag. So I was popped up in the water more than the Comp. That makes sense because this has 20% more buoyancy than the Comp. The buoyancy is fairly similar, however, to the X and the Pro, where both of those suits gets you higher up in the water, whereas with this suit, the buoyancy is kind of all over. It's lower body, it's upper body, so your whole body comes up, whereas with the X and the Pro, it's more in your legs. So that gets your back end higher up in the water so that you're more streamlined. This is more just like buoyancy across the board. Get you up, get you comfortable on top of the water so you don't feel like you're sinking. Now, like I said, the core in here is slightly more stable than that entry-level Comp, but it's not nearly as stable as that high-end ROKA Maverick X. That X is completely designed with the stripes in the back here of the wetsuit to keep your body from going like this. This doesn't have that, so there is still a little bit of side-to-side wiggling in this. The shoulders have that same arms up technology that ROKA is really well known for. It's very similar to the Comp, however. I didn't notice a really big difference in the shoulder flexibility between this and the entry-level wetsuit, but I did notice that this wasn't nearly as flexible as the X or the Pro. Both of those wetsuits are about as close to swimming with total shoulder freedom. It's similar to swimming in a pool. That's why Kurt and Rob, the founders of ROKA, actually founded ROKA, because they were ex-swimmers and they wanted that complete shoulder mobility that they didn't get in any other wetsuit. This doesn't quite have that same shoulder mobility from the Pro and the X. Of all three wetsuits, this one was by far the warmest, because to get that extra buoyancy, they need a little bit thicker neoprene in certain areas. In addition to that, because of that thicker neoprene, it's gonna last a lot longer than the Pro and the X. Both of those real high-level suits, and frankly, all high-level suits that end up having really thin shoulder material to allow for that shoulder mobility, they tend not to last as long. They're designed for performance, not for durability. This is built like a tank. Even just getting it on the first time, I was like, holy smokes, this is really tough neoprene. So I didn't have to worry about not digging my fingernails in, not pulling things too much. I could yank this around and get it on fairly easily because it was just tougher and it's gonna last a lot longer. Now, related to that, when you get into transition one and it's time to get off the wetsuit, it's not going to come off nearly as well as those high-end wetsuits. It's going to be more similar to the Comp. When I got out of here, I tried to do a little mini transition and see if I could kick off my feet, and I wasn't able to really do it in this or the Comp, but I was able to do it in the X because the ankle cuffs in this are really quite thick, whereas in the X, again, it's designed for performance. This is designed to be a tank to get you up on top of the water at that entry-level price point. As far as like just the features go, it's got all the same features of all the ROKA wetsuits. It's got that center line panel with a little bit thinner material on the side to help you rotate side to side. It's got a really nice, comfy inner on here. The liner on the inside is really very nice, so all you need is just a little bit of body glide in the rubby areas and you're not going to experience any chafing, and it has the same nano coating technology to help you get through the water. But the question is, with this MX, who should buy it, and really should you buy it? Is it a good buy? Well, one thing that I'll say is that ROKA is certainly getting to the point with their wetsuits that it's hard to distinguish who should buy what. With 4 different wetsuits from Comp to now MX to Pro to X, and only $100 to $200 in between each of them, it's getting a little bit less clear who buys which wetsuit. Now, if you're a pretty good swimmer and you're looking to just rip the fastest race possible and money isn't a concern, the Maverick X is what you want. And the reason for that is that this is nice and buoyant, and this has inside these strips inside to keep your core really stable. Now, if you are an athlete who is potentially looking at saving a little bit of money and you have a history of swimming so you don't need that core stability, then you can certainly consider the Pro. Save yourself a little bit of money and probably get a lot of the same performance. But the decision between this new MX and the original entry-level Comp, that's a much harder decision about which one you should go between. Is this a good wetsuit? Yes. Is this a good wetsuit? Yes. Which one should you get if you are a more beginner-focused athlete? That's a tougher question. I've used this in training because it's a good wetsuit at $350. I will use this in training because it's a good wetsuit that is better at $495. Is it worth that extra price point? Well, it depends who you are. If you're racing in slightly colder water, you're going to want to veer towards the MX wetsuit because it does have that thicker neoprene, so it's going to keep you a lot warmer, leaving you a lot fresher by the end of the swim because the cold takes a lot of energy out of our body. So in that case, you're going to want to look at the MX. If you're a fairly sinky swimmer, like if you just feel like your legs sink and you want that extra buoyancy to help pop you up on top of the water, give you a little bit of extra comfort, a little bit of extra confidence, maybe it's your first race and you are scared of the open water, you're probably going to want to go to the MX because it does have that significantly higher amount of buoyancy than the Comp. But here's the one thing about this MX that I would probably caution you on is that at the current price tag of launch price is $495, it's only $30 less than the ROKA Maverick Pro when that Maverick Pro is on sale typically for around $525. This and the ROKA Maverick Pro have very similar buoyancy features, but the ROKA Maverick Pro has much more flexibility in the shoulders. So you're gonna get a lot of the buoyancy in the ROKA Maverick Pro that you'd get with this for just $30 more, and you're gonna be kind of like future-proofing your swimming. Because this is so entry-level focused, once you start getting more confidence in open water, you're gonna want that shoulder flexibility from the ROKA Maverick Pro. But let's say that $525 is just too steep a price tag, or the $495 is too steep a price tag. Here's what I would recommend. If you're looking for that additional buoyancy, but you don't think you need the ROKA Maverick Pro, or that cost is getting just a little too high, I think that this is a really good wetsuit if you can get it for a little bit cheaper than the current $495. Now, it's going to take a little while for that price to regularly come down, but if you go to roka.com/Taren right now and you put in your email address, you can get a discount on this. So then all of a sudden, the difference in cost between this and the Pro is more significant. And then it becomes an easier decision. Which one do you go with? Well, this is a good wetsuit. And if the price of this gets down closer to the price of the ROKA Maverick Comp, then by all means go with this because you're gonna have more buoyancy, you're still gonna have shoulder flexibility, you're gonna have a little bit more stability in the core, and you can race in cooler water. In my opinion, you're just gonna have to wait until it's at a little bit more attractive price point. So go to roka.com/Taren, cash in on whatever discounts they've got because we're always just kind of changing up what the discounts are at roka.com/Taren. And thank you to ROKA for continuing to be an awesome sponsor of this channel and Team Trainiac. I'm gonna do some open water training in that wetsuit. If you aren't already subscribed and you like gear reviews, hit the subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs.